So, all right. How are you, mate?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jose. It's good to be here.
Cool.
It's really good to be back in store again.
Back in, yeah, I know. I haven't seen Jarrad in ages. He's done a couple of the tastings that we've done online, and obviously because Starward is just down the road, I thought that was the first name that came in to mind. It's invite Jarrad, and yeah, I guess it's for you. It's professional palate training.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
it's good, huh?
yeah. It's all education for me.
So
that's what I say. That's what I say to the taxman anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone's got there some of the whiskeys to make a highball. We're already drinking a highball here. And to begin with, this is the lineup for today. We're gonna start with the Westport from Bestram. Second is gonna go the around 22 years old from Zanzibar. Third, we're gonna go to the Rosto, 26-year-old from the Whisky Agency and Three Rivers. Fourth, we're gonna go with the Secret Highland from the Whisky Agency. Fifth, we're gonna go with the Springbank Marsala. And last, we're gonna go for the Inchgau 1975, 28-year-old by Zanzibar, which I was actually test driving earlier before, and it's absolutely stunning. All right, so not to lose any more time because we all want to drink a bit. Let's kick on. Jarrad, have you had much Glenmorangie cast strength?
Not cast strength, no. No, you don't see it too often.
No.
Had a couple of, I guess, like SMWS bottles over the years.
Yeah.
But as an independent bowling, probably not. You don't really sit around too often.
Well, the SMWS used to be owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. That's what they used to get all the Glenmorangie. There was if there's something that the SMWS had, it's a lot of Glenmorangie and Abbey, like more than anyone pretty much ever got. And until a couple of years ago, when I think the business sold the SMWS, so it was very hard to get literally Glenmorangies, and all the Glenmorangies used to be bottled as Westport. You know, that is the teaspoon name as Westport. This is distilled in 2006 and bottled in 2017. 52.9%. Very interesting. Glenmorangie, the tallest still in the world, apparently, or in Scotland at least.
Yeah.
The tallest still in Scotland. Yeah. Really, I think it always represents what this, the Highland style. Very fresh and
very
light.
Light and floral. Yeah. You don't get too many of those heavy oils coming across because of the height of the stills.
Heaps of reflux.
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah. All right. That's the first one to begin. Really floral. Creamy.
Even like, you think like maybe like a touch of like kind of those vanilla notes, probably a lot of ex-bourbon cask in, or ex-bourbon cask.
It looks like maybe it's first fill or refill bourbon. This just bourbon barrel. Bottle number 47 doesn't say if it's refill or not. Heaps of vanilla, biscuity, like a bit of shortbread or. Yeah.
Given the color, you could make the assumption that it's second fill.
Yeah, given the color, it's still very young too, at 10 years old. That's one of the things that is very interesting, because Glenmorangie, the whole concept of Glenmorangie is different finishes. Yeah. You know, the Quinta Ruban, the Nectar d'Or, everything is. It's hard to get the idea of the spirit of Glenmorangie, like what is like the core product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of oak influence from those finishing barrels.
Yeah, and they look and all the latest releases they've been doing, all the cake that they just did that now, and the mixing and you know, it's always been with non-age statement playing on the finish, a bit like Abbe was Dargis in doing same kind of style. The one of my utmost favorite on the last great Glenmorangie I remember is the Astar. I don't know if you remember that one. Cast strength.
Yeah.
Maybe done in 2015 or
I haven't seen that around in a long time. Yeah.
They did a re-release, but it's not that good.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's never get to taste the release.
Do you see much Westport come through the shop? Or
we had one in the last 4 years. We might have had only one Wilson and Morgan, which actually was sherry mature and was Wilson and Morgan style, like big and rich. It was not really much. It could be Glendronach, or it could be, easily could be a Glendronach official bottling. It was light spirit, but it's such a chunk of sherry that was big and rich. So not really. You don't get to see them often.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I haven't seen one in a long time.
And these ones will be these Westports that are around. They will be probably offloads of blenders that don't use barrels, and they just end up on the resale market. Let's check a little bit what some of our mates. Dave Phillips, how are you, mate? You look quite on the sunshine there in Sydney.
Yeah, on the 51st floor, Jose, overlooking the harbour. Well, kind of looking through the skyscrapers to the harbour.
It's better weather than we have here, mate.
Oh, well, that's Sydney for you.
Too bad for us.
That's the one thing I will admit. The weather tends to be better.
What do you reckon of this Westport?
Very good dram to start with, Jose. I think it's easing us in gently.
Yeah. Nice, crisp, easy, The
maybe a bit citrus on the nose to start with.
Yeah, I've started to get a bit of orange peel. Or that's sort of maybe like a candy orange or
so
I hope quite a bit of this one will start release. Yeah, a bit of water. Yeah, why not? That's water. Yeah, Jarrad had an idea of adding a little bit of water to this. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon of the water too. Yeah.
I wonder how it opens up at lower ABV.
Sometimes you need to add a very big chunk of water to get all those oils. It's
I think with a bit of water, the cereal maltiness has come out a lot more. I think it's maybe subdued some of the citrusy notes.
In the palate, it's huge, the maltiness. It just tastes like bran. Yes.
Yeah.
It tastes like bran.
Yeah, that malt character has come out a lot with the water.
It tastes like, with a little bit of water, it tastes like little just breakfast cereal. Like a bit of oats and
the palate has really
grist. That's
grist.
Grist.
Yeah.
One of the, now that I say grist, one of the funniest things is like when I remember when you go to Starward, one of the things that you get always in there is grist. In the smell.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were doing there, at one point I was just like grist, and I was like smelling different whiskeys, and I was like just difficult to
because the smell from the distillery was like
you become your threshold of your threshold of grist is so high.
Yeah.
That your palate becomes used to it, and then you smell some drums, and they're like, I can't smell much. It's very interesting. It
smells like the malt and the grain.
It never happened to me to I thought when I click, of course your threshold of the flavor of grist gets so high just to be there. You go outside and you breathe normal air for a bit, you come back and everything smells back grainy. But once you're there for a while,
there's a lot of smells coming out of the production area.
But good, like it's like all of the things very interesting tasting over there. Well, we're gonna leave this drum now with whatever we have here, so see how we normally pour all of them and then continue to revisit them, get back and forth, and I'm gonna top it up because I don't think I'm not doing very good at this dry February, am I already?
We always say if it's at work, it doesn't count.
It's at work. It's not gonna lose any of this COVID weight if everything is at work. My problem. Okay. I ran 22 years old, bottled by Zanzibar 48.3. So hang on, John. This is 1996, bottled in 2019. There you go. So Arran is another distillery that you don't get to see much independently bottled around.
No.
Except SNWS maybe and a few others that have been very, very little around. Just because I think Arran has been very proactive when they started selling their own casks. So they don't have, and also they started on a time where there was not need for blending material. So they wouldn't have contracts for with blenders. Right. It's very interesting, and I don't know if anyone realizes this, that the distilleries that open right now don't have really chance to have contracts with blenders, right? Because there's no need. There's enough whiskey on the market. So back on the day when they opened distilleries, so they had distillers on the 50s, 60s, 70s, because the market was dominated by blends, or still now, but all the blenders would do blending contracts where they need to buy. So that's why there's so much independently bottled whiskey of the leftover from the blenders. But now, if you open a distillery, most likely you're not going to get requests for much blending material just to use as blends. So that's why you don't get to see the recent distilleries as independent bottles. They just sell private casks and they bottle official bottling. With the labels. All right. Oh wow, that's fruity. That's like floral.
Almost get like a there's like a
potpourri,
dried fruit, almost like a Christmas cake kind of in a heavy bourbon cask kind of way. Not like so much like a sherry cask kind of way, but there's a lot of like dried dense fruit there.
I thought my glass was very. I think my glasses are being polished with something with a little bit more flavor, so it's okay. It's I was just like, that's too floral for being whiskey. I was like, yeah. Do you notice that? No, maybe because you probably been polished on the same way that my glasses have been polished. Okay now. Once the whiskey takes over, it's like, sorry, but
you
notice that. Maybe some Windex. No,
glass is shiny.
Glass is shiny. It goes away pretty easily. So biscuits.
It's like
shortbread again.
There's a lot of similarities to this in the first one, but obviously the intensity on this one is much higher. It's like a concentration of kind of flavors of the barrel, the spirit, a much heavier spirit.
Heavier spirit, yeah. I think I cut myself short. I didn't put enough to myself. And John took my bottle. Maybe he's keen enough to come a bit later to get me some more. It's a lot more denser.
The palate weight as well.
A lot more weight.
Much more weight. It's a lot longer on the palate. Finishes a lot further back.
Sweeter.
Yeah.
The length is really good. Interesting to compare it to the first one. The first one, it doesn't feel so much. It's not so floral.
It's more that grain malt character. It's starting to shine. But I think it's with the Arran, the has a bit of sweetness to it, and I think that really helps the higher alcohol. The ABV, it really balances it out. That's fantastic.
That's good whiskey,
fantastic brand,
So Zanzibar, everyone pretty much here knows Zanzibar, a bottler from Germany. They have their own bar in an island called Sylt, and they bottle everything to sell at the bar, and also they got retail shop in the island. Very interesting. I think this is a drum that for 22-year-old is a drum that will gonna probably evolve a little bit while we're here. Like you leave it on the glass and it continues to open up and it becomes and going back to the Glenmorangie now. The florals are gone in salt malt. But it's not so much like porridge or like earlier, like it was more like that sort of.
It's more biscuity.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating when you go back to previous drams that you've tasted, especially once you get into the heavier spectrum of whiskies and then go back to lighter whiskies. You see so many different characters, so many different flavors.
Yeah. We always say that a good whiskey, you notice a good whiskey when it stands up to pretty much everything, right? So there's this belief that, you do vertical tastings and you go from 10, 12, 15, 18, but sometimes we normally don't taste ranges. We rarely have had this that we taste, let's say, a whole Glendronach range or a whole Benriach range. So they're more like horizontal tasting. So we go on profiles. And when you go back to a younger whiskey that still stands up to a 25-year-old and you can still taste it, or even a peated whiskey, that's when it's great. It's just because it does have the punch to go. Whiskey, especially castering whiskey, has the flavor profile to stand up after what you tasted something big. It's not like you're tasting Sauvignon Blanc and then you go to Shiraz and then you can't taste anything. But this Aran is becoming really big and rich. Absolutely amazing. So let's see a little bit what these people are writing in here. We got where is nose hair singe, what's the toasted coconut butterscotch frisky nose, that's on the first one. Dominic said flower bouquet on nose. Yes, that was for Dom, that was for the Aran, was it? Poached fruits, says Justin. Westmore, now shortbread on the nose. Westmore, David, you probably mean no, Westport. Westport, right?
And I love the nose hair singe.
Nose hair singe. What's nose hair singe? These
prickly. It was quite prickly. That's what I was saying in that first one.
Singe, nose hair singe.
Yeah, a bit of fricasseed nose hair just to go with the rest of the smell.
Yeah. How are you, Dom, by the way? Good?
Good, mate. Good. And you?
Yeah, good, man. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Just so everyone know, just gonna throw it out there today. We only have like 3 or 4 bottles left of Aran, and I think there is only 1 bottle of Ross Doux, and there might be half a dozen bottles of the Highland. The rest, they're not available. And today the code for is cask. We give every tasting, we give a discount code that's only active during the tasting until midday tomorrow.
Yes.
Just so people don't need to take a quick decision on probably not the best state of
So you can sleep on it and then
you can sleep on it and make the decision. You can sleep the whiskeys off and then take the decision in the morning if you want to buy. Sometimes these whiskeys are gone by that time anyway. But just support everyone that's does the tastings, and many of these guys do them all pretty much every week. We give 10% off the website, so it's keeps the support, so it's good. And we do the same we used to do that in the store before COVID. That everyone that comes to the tasting get a 10% off. They used to buy bottles in here, but with COVID we had to do it online, and it just it's good. It's part of our
fantastic.
I always joke that I don't like giving discounts. It's against my religion. But just for the night to support all these friends and all these supporters. It's what do you reckon, the Aran?
I'm really into this. I love the kind of floral fruitiness component on the nose, but I think the texture and the palate weight is what's really appealing about this.
I think with maybe a little bit of water might come a little bit. I can always put a little bit more. These are big whiskey. And really oily. Like it's like it feels like for a bourbon cask, like really rich and big and nice.
Good. You can kind of imagine the spirit going into this barrel, being quite textural, being oily. What was the ABV on this?
48. 48.5, I think. Or 48.3 natural casting. Very interesting. Time to move on, I reckon. This is something that we don't normally see very often. Old Ross Do, which is Loch Lomond. So Ross Do, the style of Ross Do today is a peated style. This is the old Ross Do, which is unpeated style. Distilled at Loch Lomond Distillery. So
I don't think I've ever had a Ross Do.
Yeah. Bottled by the Whisky Agency. They are really vegetal. I'm unsure if the style of Old Ross Do is Lomond still, or this was when they still had just this is just the normal pot still.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But this is a very, very interesting dram. It's very it smells a bit like floor polish. It has that sort of,
I don't mean this in a negative way, but like an old cardboard box.
Yeah,
like just a cardboard box that's been sitting around for years.
Yes, damp cardboard.
Damp cardboard.
I know about that. I had, yeah, I had I lost this one to I had a leak, and this is a 700 ml bottle. Just sorry, of the 700 ml bottle. This is what we could rescue
Oh no!
From the it was all damp. I know the smell of old cardboard. This one smells beautiful actually. It's more like Springbank.
Yeah,
but it was pretty heartbreaking. My the cork was very old, so the cork gave up already.
When was that bottled? Do you know?
This is 80s.
80s, yeah.
So it's already started to shrink. It's never recommended to these ones that be shipped. It's a bit like, you know, they leak, and it seems like someone might have not put a sticker this way up, or, you know, do not tilt.
Yep.
And some might have seated some warehouse in DHL and leaked everywhere. So Ross Do, Loch Lomond. This is very interesting, huh?
It's changing even in just that short period of time of being in the glass.
It's a mix of fruit, wax, like floor wax.
You could like a
or herbs.
Even like an apple skin kind of character coming through.
I think that's the wax of the apples. So they
wax
put
the apples,
wax
yeah.
of apples. Yeah. Salt, heaps of salt. Very savory jam. And vegetal was like,
it kind of gets drier as well as
tannic
as it goes down.
Tannic. You reckon that's tannic? Yeah,
possibly, or it could be like a oily spirit character. You see that sometimes with really oily spirits. They finish a bit drier, and probably a bit maybe even a bit of like bitterness there from the oak as well.
It's 26 years old and still smells a bit like rum new make. Maybe like sort of like rum new make.
Yeah.
You know, without being, you know, not that vegetal rum and funky, just a well, you go back to the Aran, and then the Aran is like a party. Yeah. Chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Reza says Aran smells like an oily steak on a fresh sourdough. Yum. And Sean says all of my best purchases happen on Thursday nights. Yeah. Yes. I reckon on Thursday night we could sell anything. We could be selling air fryers tonight, or we could be selling I don't know.
Maybe that's what you need, is like a mid-tasting infomercial.
An infomercial selling
a set of steak knives.
Who needs a steak knives? We got these special ones. I don't know, Thermomix, anything. You could sell a juicer. Jono, pretty. I reckon you should write that one down. An infomercial for it's like the Super Bowl. You know, you do the halftime break.
I'll remember that for next time.
Yeah,
I'll bring in some things I need to sell.
We can like the what's the Antiques Roadshow or something like that. You know, like We could do that, John. Write that right idea down. That's it's very, but it's you know what, smells a bit like green tea or like or yeah, matcha. It just smells like that matcha.
I think you get that a lot more on the palate as well because of that drying tannic bitterness finish that kind of lingers around.
Or maybe like almost like stock, like cooking stock.
Yeah, because of the saltiness.
The saltiness of it. You know, it's like a chicken stock, but it doesn't smell like chicken. The chicken stock doesn't smell like chicken. Thank God. You know, but it's a sort of like saline vegetal. You know.
I'm really interested to see how this goes with some water and whether it
So this one is bottled at 48.6, another low ABV. Bourbon Hogshead, 26 years old, 344 bottles. This one, I think we only have one bottle left because it's very rare to see Ross Doux. So this is bottled for Japan, for Three Rivers, and a special bottling for the whiskey agency for Japan. It's crazy. Japan is, you know, it's always been probably the best place in the world to go and taste whiskey, you know. So you see all these stuff that you've never seen, and they're like 10 years ahead of any other country and drinking whiskey as bar level, right? This like you don't even get that culture even in Scotland of the amount of stuff they have. I think the Japanese bought all the stock they could from the Scottish, you know. Probably the only place you probably see is in Italy. I would say that the amount of stock that you get on Japan. You see some
fascinating bottles. For the independent bottles over there. Shame we can't get more of that here. I'm sure it's slowly it'll get there.
But Japan, it's funny enough. All my suppliers that whiskey agency Zanzibar, you know, they all export to Japan, and Japan could take easily everything else for the rest of the world. Like they have this culture of just buying. They just like it. They just buy many because they always see their bar as they're gonna be there for the next 50 years or more. They just buy stock for 50 years. If they don't use it, they sell it, but they over the times, you know. Let's see someone that I haven't heard in a long time. Yuko, how are you? Andita, how you been, man? Good. What are you guys thinking on the Ross Doux?
After you.
Oh, it's very nice, very pretty.
I haven't tried it yet, so I'll reserve my judgment.
Is she drinking everything? Your part too?
Yeah, she didn't save me much Westport, so you're a bit disappointed.
Oh, hey, what did?
Throw her under the bus.
This is the Westport.
Yeah.
What do you glorious.
Think Ross Doux?
Glorious.
Glorious, that's right. Let's see what who else. Let's get Justin. Justin, how are you, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good.
All right.
What do you reckon about the tasting tonight and this Ross Doux?
Funnily enough, this was probably the only the fourth Loch Lomond I've ever had. It's really interesting. I want to come back to it later because I reckon it's going to get really fruity. It's getting there now.
Really fruity now.
Like
I was going to say the same thing when you just said that. I just did a slow little nose, and
it's losing the funkiness of it. It's getting a bit more floral, a bit more citrusy. I think that's a really good point. I think it'd be good to come back to at the end of the tasting.
Yeah,
I'm going to steal one of Dom's notes, and it's smelling a lot like juicy fruit now.
Yep. Casavino says increase by 500% every Thursday night. Yes, we could sell any. We could have a casino like here, and it's Jono. I want to ask Jono is what's going on over there? Everyone's quiet. I can hear How's everyone? How's Serge? There. How's Sergio?
Good.
How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good.
We're all good. Can I get gallery view there on so I can see who I'm zooming into, so we can say hello. We're loving it in here. I guess the first one cracking starts tonight, and then now it's just like boom boom.
Mhm.
The second one was like one of those ones where it's like none of the notes like stood out like dog proverbials. It's all sort of like a little bit different, you know. And everyone's sort of a different idea in the shop about that one, and then this one's just like a bit of a bang down. What do you reckon, Serge?
Yeah, I'm finding it's the three, even though bottled by all different people, all are having much fruitier noses compared to the palate, which for some reason all three seem to have a biscuit. Even though the waxiness of the Loch Lomond is there, there's like a little biscuity weakness to them, which I found was interesting.
Yeah.
I agree with the
I agree, yeah.
biscuity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the malt character has been really prevalent in all three.
Yeah. And that's what's I reckon that's one of the things that we've been talking always is with when you normally tend to go to whiskeys, you go to official bottlings, and you know that's how you start your career with whiskey normally. You know, things that are bottled at 40%, blends, easy to drink, and then you go through your peated, then your sherries, cask strength, and you don't love that amount of flavor and heaps. And all the road go back to bourbon and just lighter ABVs and the delicacy. It's like that's the ultimate thing to appreciate.
Yeah.
It's like after, because we all love the Glendronachs and the Glenfarclas and all those Glengorns.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the big beats and the Octomores, but then it gets to a point when
I agree.
find them like one note.
Big flavors are easy to like.
Yeah.
And it's that's what I love about these kind of lighter, more delicate styles. There's a lot more interesting things about them in a way, because there's the more you smell them, and they change so much over time as well. And the floralness, the citroness changes over time. And I think there's a lot more excitement out of these.
And this is the three that we have is just bourbon barrels. So it's just spirit behaving in different ways. You know, with the maturation, and it's no taint of any kind of cask influence, which is really interesting. You know, it's what they are, or what the spirit and what the cask made them.
There's nothing to hide.
Nothing behind
in this style of whiskey. It's like lighter second fill, third fill bourbon casks. It's about the spirit, subtle influence from the barrel, and that's it. So if there's any faults, if there's anything that's off or tainted flavors, you notice it straight away.
You notice straight away, exactly. The Loch Lomond now is having a really nice palate. It's a drum that takes like good, I would say now 15 minutes on it, not 10 minutes on it, and salty, sweet. I get florals on the palate now.
Yeah, and that dustiness that was there at the start is completely gone. Yeah,
pretty amazing how they change up.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I was unsure about that at the start, but now that I absolutely love it.
It's very interesting. One of the things that you know when you buy an independent bottler, the independent bottler is like the marketing department of a Scottish distillery, right?
Yeah.
So they decide a profile, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, and the independent bottler is, you know, the guy that says, okay, I bought that cask. So once you know the profile, you tend to like, you know.
Yeah.
There's a profile for Cadenheads. There's a profile for Blackadder and Whiskey Agency, and you know, and what we like also in my side from Whiskey Agency is how fruity are all the drums.
Yeah,
it's just they love fruitiness, and that's you expect when you buy a Whiskey Agency to be fruity. Somehow it will be fruity. That's one of them.
Yeah, so I guess like they have their own style, the same as a distillery has their own spirit style.
Correct.
So they have their own, I guess, flavor cues that they enjoy, and that's what they want to sell.
That's what they want to sell. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately, there's one person taking the decision, which is like that one.
Yeah.
That one. You know, which is good. It's like this independent bottlers like Wilson and Morgan, and that like really heavily sherry whiskeys, and that's, you know, they sell really well when we get them here. You know, it's not so often that we get them, but they sell really, really well. And they just love big, rich trams.
Yeah.
It's just the start. You know, you don't get to see much stuff like Spirit. And the same from this a Japanese bottle called Acorn, and it's all about the spirit. They normally don't do anything on anything else than bourbon, and it's like just about spirit. And even this will be maybe sometimes even too much influence for an Acorn of age. They like younger, bright.
Sure. Yeah.
Very OCD cask. Spirit, just spirit.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know.
Absolutely, that's fascinating. It's a really I love bottlings like that. It's because it's great. You get to see the distillery.
Yeah. Sometimes the only problem is you might not drink a whole bottle that tastes like spirit, you know, like, was too spirited.
Yeah. Maybe just a dram is good amount.
All right, moving on. Let's go to a secret Highland. No, this is Highland Park. Sorry, Highland Park Distillery. 16 years old. Distilled in 2003, bottled in 2019. This is a hogshead. So hogshead, we get around 300 liters out of this. 51.9. This is Whiskey Agency bottled for Heads and Tails in Canada. We get there the bottle.
The thing I love about
and this is Highland Park
independent bottlers is the labels.
They're good,
is
fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
The Canadian Alps, and it looks like a Tyrolese singer, someone coming from yeah, it's cool. We got a few of those, John, do we? Left on the these are a few, 2 or 3 there. Very interesting. Highland Park, there's been a few out on the market for the last few years, which is good, you know. Very interesting. Highland Park is one of those spirits that has so many different levels of peat in independent bottlers that is
you can get the real intense peated ones, or you can get ones that almost unpeated. But I think that's a really good compliment to Highland Park as well, is the variation that they create. And the thing I love about Highland Park is the balance that they always find in their whiskies. So you get influence of the peat, influence of the spirit, influence of the barrel, and most of the time it's pretty good.
It's I think it's these distilleries that can produce such a large amount of barrels a week, they actually do need a pool to pick to make the different expressions, right?
Yeah.
When you realize Highland Park has maybe we'll have maybe 20 different SKUs across duty free and the regular market. So if you get a spirit that's too consistent, how do you do it?
Taste the same.
You just gotta use different barrels just to flavor. But if you just alterate your peat levels, you know, or you know, that's probably the easiest way not to having to buy expensive sherry casks.
Easy way to vary spirit.
It's because when we used to travel back in the day, you get these heaps of Highland Parks on the duty free, and they all have no age statements. They all have Viking names and
fancy packaging.
Yeah, we love the fancy packaging. It's, sometimes it doesn't worth it, but you know. This is almost not a lot of smoke on the nose.
No.
It's a bit like more like a burnt paper on the nose. They made like burnt. It's very interesting.
It's not what you think of like a classic peat or even classic Highland Park peat.
No. And really salty. And quite a bit of charcoal, toasted charcoal, and Highland peat on the palate. No salinity, but no iodine or anything like, you know, maritime character for me. Well, maybe at the end.
Now that you've said the burnt paper, that's a very strong
burnt paper
flavor. Aroma.
We used to back on the day when I was in high school, we used to the buses. We used to get a ticket of the bus, and they used to give you a little paper of the bus. and we used to make filters with that. To smoke grollies, and that's the smell of the burning. It's one of those things that you gotta.
It's a really nostalgic
smell. It marks your life. when you get burned. Yeah. I might not do the sign, but it's one of those tastes that you never forget. Yeah, but it's been a long time. I just found that lately the Highland Parks have been a bit too generic. So it's like don't have had so many official bottlings lately. But this is absolutely lovely. Just to say that what the character of Highland Park is, but I probably tend to think that this will be normal Highland Park will be a little more peated than this.
Yeah.
A little more on the nose. That's my idea of the current Highland Park flavor profile.
It's also a bit of like a flintiness. I think in this, like I want to say
sulfur.
I want to say struck match.
It's flint. That's sulfur. It's like I see what you mean.
I wonder if was a bit of sulfury spirit, sulfury character in the spirit, and it's kind of because it's quite soft, so it might have aged out and kind of dissipated over the years. But I wonder if in the early days of the spirit there was a bit of sulfur in there.
This let's put a bit of water. Sulfur normally water shows up or goes away. Highland Park is really fruity. That's one of those. So the fruitiness might come later as the drums open. 16 years old.
It's not the first thing I thought of this dram was the fruitiness. I thought it was much more that burnt paper flintiness.
Let's go back while we give this some time. Ross, do.
That still stands up really well.
Yeah. Now we get a bit of honeycomb or that sort of just honey wax, not just honeycomb, just the wax of honey.
Wax, yeah, yep.
And camphor at the end. Camphor, naphthalene, that sort of. I guess they are all derivated from the same kind of petroleum-like smells.
Yeah, yeah. It's looking quite fresh now.
Yeah. A lot more than when we firstly pour. And the Iran.
Like still that like kind of orange rind, citrusy character.
Iran is B whiskey, yeah. I wonder what Dom that has the good glasses there. What do you reckon, mate?
I was just saying, nosing them in reverse order backwards using these sort of nosing glasses, blenders glasses, whatever they're called. The Westport, there is nothing there now. It's dead to me. It may as well be.
I'm just going to pour a bit more because it's probably just like left. It's not fair to put it.
No, it's really not fair, Jose. It's being sort of
10-year-old.
It's being teased by the other whiskies.
He's putting a 10-year-old against 22, 26, then 16. And it's also Glenmorangie, which is a very light spirit.
Very light, yeah. And I think with the Westport, now you kind of see the fainty spirit characters coming through. It's lost a lot of that bright citrusy, but that could just be because we've also had some pretty big whiskies following.
But the mouthfeel of the Westport, right? Is oil. There's quite a bit of oil there.
Wow, yeah, that's a huge contrast.
Yeah, there's not much on the nose, but the mouthfeel is huge. The Highland Park still shy, and now I smell the Westport and goes to the Highland Park, and the Highland Park is now not so shiny. Like the Westport might shade it a bit. Of course, not on the palate, but on the nose. I get a cereal, but it's still very new make-ish now.
Yeah, yep.
The Ross too I'm loving the weirdness. It's just like weird.
And it's still standing up really well. It's still kind of the dominating dram, I think, of the 4 so far.
I'm liking them all, how different all they are. Like entertaining tasting, like they're all.
Yep.
So
all the same type of cask.
And the run is huge. It's like a big biscuit, oily. The Westport is that sort of the Ross-Do is that sort of green, waxy, petroleum kind of alike, but also fruity at the back. The Westport is now it's this very spirity, very new makey on the nose. It smells like new make now.
Yeah.
But huge palate. And the Highland Park, which on the nose is just burnt paper, but
that flintiness is really standing out now.
But the palate is big and salty.
Yep.
You can see how they're all so different, but also they all have a baseline of like spirit.
Yep.
Might not make a lot of sense what I say, but in my mind it does.
Yeah, the theme of the 4 we've had so far are all very similar. Yeah, like spirit focused.
Yeah.
Bit of oak influence, but still in their own way, like delicate.
I think the Highland Park is the one we gotta watch out once it starts opening. Maybe we're gonna put a little bit more water to fasten the oxidation.
I don't think I have the bottle here. What do you know what the ABV is on the Highland Park?
51.3, I think. John, I might be able to maybe comes back with the bottle. I think it's 51 point something %. Before we continue, we let some time. We got a Nectar of the Daily Drams tasting next. That's it. Sergio has the bottle there. Let me just gather reviews, speak a bit. What's the ABV, Sergio? I cannot see it. You're moving it too fast. 51.9. Well,
there you go. 51.9.
51.9. There we go. 51.9. So good ABV,
yeah.
So next week, and I don't have the bottles. I don't have the bottles here. Next week we got a tasting of the Nectar of the Daily Drams. It's a bottler from Belgium. It's like the equivalent of La Maison de Whisky, but for Belgium.
Perfect.
I heard he's been looking at some Starward maybe. This very good friends Mario, which is the guy that's in charge of everything, used to work for La Maison de Whisky a long time ago, and they import all the products from La Maison de Whisky. They import Whisky Agency, they import Gigibu, they import Nika for Belgium, and they also do their own bottlings. So we just got a big range of them. Amazing. Is another independent bottle. Is a lot about the spirit. So there's a Tomatin 22-year-old, absolutely stunning fruity Tomatin. There is 2 Bunnahabhens like Yin and Yang, so a Stoisha 5-year-old, heavily peated, and a 12-year-old sherry cask, first field sherry. So like both big contrast. There is a couple old space size 26 and 28-year-old to taste. It's one of those. The Nectar is one of those bottlers that is always sold out of everything. It's very difficult to get stuff. Belgium is such a small country, and also very hard for the Belgium economy to compete with similar products. That's why most of the products you will find in whiskey shops in Belgium, they are just for Belgium, which makes it in really high demand by the whole world. Because they just do single cask for Belgium, single bottling for Belgium. So, and the whole world wants to buy that from Belgium because it's different. If Belgium would have the same product that everyone else in the in Europe, it will make it very hard for them to compete because they are a smaller economy.
Yep.
So everything Belgium does, or the nectar does, is normally bottled for the nectar. And that's why normally it's very difficult to buy quite a bit of stock. This, because of COVID, and I got lucky, we've been able to get a couple hundred bottles, but we don't have just a couple hundred anymore left. But that's the next tasting and the following up. I think you might be joining again too. So
I hope so.
It'll be good. And also tonight, we are releasing some tickets for everyone that's here for the old and rare tasting that we're doing in March. So we're gonna release some tickets for the old and rare tasting. Someone coming in. I don't know. The old and rare tasting that we do in the first week of March is gonna be pretty crazy. We got some North of Scotland distillery. North of Scotland is a very rare distillery to see. It's a grain whiskey. It's not North British, it's North of Scotland. Strathmore is the distillery. It used to be called as Strathmore. This is a 41-year-old bottle for one of our friends' birthday. Uwe from Finest Whiskey is a very nice shop and bar in Berlin. We also got an Imperial 17 years old bottle for the Whiskey Fair in Germany. So the Whiskey Fair is Limburg Whiskey Fair. We also got a 29-year-old Benriach. Yes, that's a 29-year-old Benriach 1986 bottled by Garden Heads. So also we got a 1982 Kalila bottled by the Whiskey Agency. 1982 Kalila, this is amazing. 80s Kalila is absolutely amazing. You know, they are not so heavily peated, but they are really fresh and vibrant. The 80s, young 80s Kalila is, and it's still at a price. You can still find them around the prices that are not so crazy. Like 80s Isla whiskeys are stupidly expensive right now.
26-year-old, 49.9%.
Yeah,
That'd be fascinating.
1976 Cragamore, not a bad one. Maybe we give this one a go after we finish the tasting tonight. 1976 Cragamore by Gordon and MacPhail. This one is bottled early 90s, so closer to 20-year-old, I would say, for the cask strength range. This one has around 88 points on whiskey base, so it's pretty good whiskey. Should be okay. And the Perfect Dram, which is a bottling by the Whiskey Agency, 1972 Glenlivet. 1972 Glenlivet. This one is at 37 years old, 56.8. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's good in quotations. A big dram.
A big dram. Yes. Jono wants to pour the next one. You want to pour the next one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry, we were just.
That's all right. I was listening. Everyone's itching for the Springbank out here.
Yeah. Okay, the Springbank. This is the only cask here, the only whiskey we're doing today with a finish or a cask. So here we got Marsala Wood Springbank. Yes, you bring me the bottle back. 7,000 bottles. This is Jono had to twist my arm to open this bottle. It was actually him. I wanted to open a different bottle. I never want to open my Springbank bottle. Springbank is just funky.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that, you know,
everyone has a good time with Springbank. They're phenomenal whiskies, and they're always exciting. You always kind of look for.
There was something different. There was something.
Yeah.
Some of my glasses still smell like Windex. This is your 2 years. You're checking out the same. You just go like this, and I think it blows off. Yeah.
Straight away you get kind of the masala, the fortified kind of sweeter masala notes.
Yeah. Undoubtedly, this Springbank kind of oily fuel diesel Oh, huge. That's all Marsala on the palate. It's very interesting to see this as a contrast of the first 4 drams.
Yeah.
The palate is like just more. You can see just modified the spirit.
This
amazingly.
one, I think, using the influence of the cask a lot more than what we've seen in the previous 4. There's a lot more cask or Marsala notes coming through rather than spirit.
It just tastes like street racing wine. But I think that was the idea of Springbank when they released all these range, the wood expressions. Just like, it's not that they ever needed to be more funky, but just, you know, for the sake of it, you know, then the experimental part of being a small distillery compared in Scotland size.
Yeah.
You know? Slowly the Springbank notes are coming on the nose. Heaps of that sort of
funky spirit characters coming through.
I always, you know, sewing machine oil. You know sewing machine oil?
Yeah.
Sewing machine oil. I always see like that is my dad had a confections factory, so that's like one of those smells that I saw someone writing once on some blog describing Springbank like sewing machine oil, and I was like, yes,
that's it. That's
I cannot take it off my head. I'm predispositioned to smell that.
Yeah.
Every time I taste a Springbank right now in my life now, you know. But it's one of those. It's probably the distillery I can just speak out of a blind. It's maybe the only one that I can, you know, for that characteristic. Like so
familiar,
embedded.
Yeah. The it's quite fresh. The casks use has been. They don't taste kind of like older, well-used casks. The Marsala notes is quite fresh. The oak's quite fresh.
No, this will be all first fills. You know, these guys get it. Dom is asking if I'm releasing the Springbank tasting tonight. Yes. I hope that Owen can put some of the stock online and we will have it. We will have the Springbank tasting tonight. I'll just gonna stay there. One of the bottles that we are opening for this Springbank is that this one is an 80-year-old. We open a few. We're getting this one, the Zanzibar, and what's going on there?
Party outside.
No, this some girls. Oh, this is my wife. It's okay. I saw some ladies coming in. I said, like, what's going on over there? It's my wife and their friends. So we are all safe. Thanks. Hi, the Paul. No. Sorry. We got so for the Springbank tasting, we get this pear-shaped Springbank from the 80s. Yeah, bottle for Japan.
I think the bottle's seen a few hands. It's been passed around.
It's been passed around quite a bit, this one. We also get this 18-year-old Springbank from the year 2000. And we also got a couple more Springbanks. We got the newest release in Australian release of the 2020 cask strength. We're tasting the 15 and the 10. And there's one more dram, which I can't really remember right now which one is the other dram. But that's going to be a really good Springbank. Very interested on this 8-year-old pear shape.
Yeah.
This
and you'll get to share the remaining dregs of.
Yeah, maybe I'm gutted with that one. My, you know, the little books. I don't know why it's. Yeah.
Is that the secret bottle to have in your bookshelf? So.
Yes,
you can have a dram. And I'm just going to read this.
I'm going to read book. My kids, I showed them my kids, and it's pretty clever that. So it's very interesting. The pear shapes. Well, we'll talk about it on the Springbank tasting, but there's a lot of, you know, Springbank is one of those that had 50-year-olds whiskey a long time ago, and there's a pear shaped 50, which is famous. You know, there's heaps on the market.
Yeah.
And allegedly one of my friends that taught me a lot about whiskey says most of those 50-year-olds are fakes, and they're relabeling 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 21-year-olds pear shapes with a 50-year-old. Because one thing that Springbank did as being a small distillery is had the same main label and use a neck tag with the age.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So that's one of the big mistakes. And we talk about the pear-shaped bottles when we get to the Springbank tasting, and that's on the 18th of March. But we are releasing the tickets right now because our Springbank tasting sells out every year, like in record time. So we are releasing it only for the people that is on the tasting tonight. And it will go offline tomorrow again, and we'll release more tickets next Thursday for the next tasting. So the Springbank Marsala.
This is fantastic.
It's good.
I love it. Yeah. And it's, I mean, Marsala, I'm not supposed to finish or for 2 years. 7 years in refill bourbon, 2 years in fresh Marsala.
Yeah.
I mean, Marsala's not a very common cask finishing.
Italian sweet wine.
Yeah.
It's the Italian take on port, basically.
This is, I love this. I love the way the spirit interacts with the barrel.
The nose is pure Springbank.
Yep.
Like it's just that funky sort of grease. I can hear my dog crying over there. It's my wife brought my kids and my dog. I got everything.
It's a family affair tonight.
Yeah.
But the Marsala works so well with the spirit, the funkiness of the spirit, the sweetness of the barrel.
Yep.
I think it's a really good combination. I'd be really interested to hear what other people think of this, because
let's
I'm
get get a review. Oh, mate, Shan, how are you, man? I like your stand-up desk.
There's the unmute button.
Yeah, mate, doing well. What do you reckon of the Springer?
I missed the go on opening it, so I've only just opened it up. But it's interesting, kind of listening it, like just having caught up on the take on. Well, I've never heard of Marsala before, so that's interesting, and yeah, so looking at it through a port cask is it's fascinating. It's still confusing the hell out of me at the moment, so come back to me.
Yeah, Marsala, it's like a white port, pretty much. It's an Italian white port, same version, fortified, sweetish, 70%.
Yeah.
And there's dry Marsalas and there's sweet Marsalas, like port. You get drier ports. Yeah. Let's get, who could be here? Let's get Justin. Let me get again. What do you reckon?
Lovely. I like that. On the palate, it's got that real sort of tarriness that you get with Springbank. It's always almost flirting on being a long road to a point.
Yes. And it's I love how sweet and rich it is on the palate.
Yeah.
It's like just really enticing. And it's only like 9 years old, is it? Or 8 or something like that?
Yeah, it was
9 years old.
9 years old.
Amazing for 9 years old.
If you had that blind, you'd definitely go way older. You'd think it's a lot older than 9.
Yeah. And I'm tasting now the Highland Park after this, and the richness of the Highland Park is sensational. No, my dog is barking. Good dog. I don't know, maybe with my daughter. I don't know.
Is that whiskey?
I think that's whiskey. Yeah, it's whiskey.
I remember when I came in here and the first time I met whiskey, and you were just saying whiskey. Yeah, he's going crazy.
He can, you know what? The dog can hear me. The dog can hear me. Jono, bring the dog in here. It's okay. He can stand next to me. It's all good because he's listening to me. The dog is listening to me on the.
He can hear you say whiskey.
No, but he can hear me. Of course, I'm saying whiskey, and he's hearing me on the what's called on the microphone. Yeah, there we go. Hey, get it here. Let's, yeah.
Whiskey, what do you think about all the little drams?
Put him up. Let's leave him here and
There we go.
yeah, there we go. That's there we go. We got a whiskey in here. Now he's not gonna be barking.
Keep him away from the Springbank.
What's up, David?
I'm just saying, keep Whiskey away from the Springbank. That's why he was.
No, he's fine.
He was quiet until we opened the Springbank.
What do you reckon of the Springbank, David?
Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's such a wild card compared to the other four. Yeah, it's the fruity, oily joker in the pack tonight. Just gorgeous.
You're on mute, Jose.
Sorry, there we go. Now we got everything under control right now. We got whiskey and whiskey. I think the Springbank is a very nice change on the dynamic of the tasting because you just
it's a different contrast of flavors.
Now you go back to these ones and they feel very light and fresh and the Springbank is just.
Go back to the Westport at the start. It's
new make.
It's just so different.
Oh, the Springbank is beautiful. It's incredible how a 9-year-old can put up with 26-year-old, 16-year-old Highland Park. Like the nose is just unbelievable.
What's the third one? Was it the Ross Do?
The Ross Do, yeah.
That's still holding up. That's still holding its weight incredibly well, even compared to the Springbank.
Yeah, and the greenness stands out.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want to smell this? No, you can't. That's the last thing I want to do is give whiskey to whiskey. Give whiskey to whiskey. And I reckon we're going to go now to the Inchkawa 75 because we need this drum to, get a little bit more. I'm going to need a hand with that one to pour. Let me see if we have another glass of the big ones. No, just get that one. I get this one. There we go. Inchkawa 1975, bottled by Zanzibar. This is on whiskey's bed. Yes. Yeah. All right. What's the ABV on this?
ABV is 42.6.
42.6.
42.6.
Very interesting.
38 years old.
Yeah.
186 bottles.
186 bottles.
That's Springbank.
Yes.
With water.
Yeah.
It's like before the water, it's like a clenched fist, and then you open with water, and it's just
amazing,
beautiful.
Oh. Good. Sergio is loving the Springbank. Yeah. It's a bit of control over there. It's nice. It's cold over there. Here it's just getting hot in here. We need a. And if it was not hot enough, we got a dog now. Yeah. Wow, the Inchkawa. A bit of old bottle effect, and that's sort of.
Yeah.
Come here. Whiskey. Come here. Nice. Maybe we're gonna leave it out there and he can go. Yeah. No, everyone's drinking over there. No one's, no.
Bottled in 2013. So 1975 distilled, 2013 bottling.
It's very interesting, you know. It's like caramel, butterscotch, rum and raisin.
Yeah, the rum and raisin I think is a really good. Just that
the mouthfeel is huge. Wow. Someone that likes a lot these old drums is Dave Phillips. Is he still there? No, he's I know.
Dave had to go, Jose.
He had to go. Oh, yeah, you see.
Meeting boss in a pub.
Let's get Roger. How are you, mate? Long time no see.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah, good, man. Thank you for joining again.
Yes, David's here with me as well, so we're both doing it from here tonight. So
yeah, awesome. What do you guys reckon today with these whiskies?
The last one I'm loving particularly, and the Highland. That first one, I've had an argument with David over whether it smelled like new make or not, because he called it at the start and I didn't believe him, but it looks like everyone else has joined in on the new make belief.
Once you go back to it, I think it's a bit more obvious after trying more intense whiskies.
It's like the rest of the flavors take away almost everything out of it, you know. That's why whatever's left.
Normally good at picking the new make, but this one I didn't get it. So I took 10 days off drinking and it's ruined my palate. So.
You should know that.
There's a lesson in that for everyone here tonight. Don't take 10 days off.
Don't do it. No, don't recommend it.
You lose your palate.
You lose your palate finesse, yeah. And what do you reckon of this Springbank?
I like the Springbank, and we were just looking at your Springbank tasting coming up and figuring out whether we're getting 15 or 30 mils. That was.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Springbank tasting. I love my Springbanks, and it's like one of those distilleries that of course I do collect, but I open my collection. You know, so that's what we put on the tastings. And normally all of the tastings, what I do is I normally put what I want to taste on the tasting.
Yeah,
things that I want, but it's things that takes me a longer to detach and say let's open it. Springbank is one of those.
It's the perfect time to open a bottle though with other people.
Exactly like that. It's we all share it at the same time. It's what we did during COVID. It destroyed my Van Neves collection. Absolutely annihilated. I think I had like 4 bottles left or 5. Maybe I had around 20 or odd bottles.
Yeah.
Of Van Neves. It was never. Now I look at the same ones that I open and it's, well, we enjoy them. We must say that it needed to be done during COVID to keep the spirits up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Roger. That's good that you guys are joining. Thank you for all the support, man. It's I'm glad that you guys and David too. I'm glad you guys are liking the tastings, man. Yeah.
You always provide an interesting range of whiskies, regardless. So never disappointed. So.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's the whole idea, like bring nice stuff that we all. I always assume it needs to be stuff that I want to drink. So then, like everyone else wants to. Like I put myself as like the average person. Like if I want to drink it, everyone else wants to drink it. Like you gotta think yourself as the average, like as your normal average in your normal distribution.
This is a pretty good average of
it's a good average. It's a good average. I wouldn't say no to any of this. But it's good that we with these things we cannot fund it, because like some of these bottles are difficult to justify opening them.
Yeah.
So it's good. Now going back to the Inchgawa.
So I get I see this sometimes in whiskies, but it's a really specific tasting note. So for those of you that are beer fans and kind of lean to the sour beer spectrum, this has on the nose like a bit of a Rodenbach.
Rodenbach.
So you get this kind of like slightly acidic
mousiness,
a little bit of like sour cherry on the nose as well. You don't see it too often, but
I understand the sour cherry, but The sour cherry more on the maybe kirsch liqueur. I wouldn't say like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or on the sour cherry chocolates or something like that. But it's like licorice style, like licorice sour cherry. That sort of I don't know how to describe it.
It's even
the nose is stunning.
Absolutely. It's quite a contrast to the palate as well. The palate is a bit lighter and fresher. It's very
so we got a big jump from 26 we go to 38, which is the highest, which is a Ross do to 38. That's a very good whiskey. 38 euros a lot of time. 75. You were not born. I was not born. Most of the people on the tasting was not born then yet.
It's a long time to be in barrel, and for 38 years, the spirit character is still there. It's not overpowered by oak.
No.
It's quite fresh. It's still vibrant. It's not dusty and old and dank.
And this smell the Springbank back, and the Springbank still stands out to a 38-year-old whiskey. Still there. Like it's not like it's taken. The 38 has not taken much out of the Springbank. Inchgauer is one of those distillers that we might not have really profile in our minds. Like it's not like, it's malty, it tends to be rich and it's like malt like Ben Rins used for volume, and that's so maybe for blends. That's my idea. I don't know if they use it for blends or not, but I know they use it for blends, but I don't know what as a blender they see it as the profile. It's a filler of volume like Blair Athol, it's a big, rich, malty, thick whiskey. This feels the same as a Blair Athol. Like that's
has that viscosity and that intensity there behind it.
Yeah. Now the Ross Do is shining. He's using more and more and more the vegetal part.
It's going to that honeyed, candied kind of spectrum as well. A lot more the even the kind of the vanilla from the American oak.
And the Aran. Wow, the Aran is sensational. Wow.
The palate on the Aran as well is huge. It goes out, it goes deep.
It's a session. I say the Aran is a session whiskey. You see, it doesn't really stand out on the lineup. It's not like, like it goes like, oh, hello, I'm here. But it's always, every time you taste it, it's like, ooh, it's like just,
It's definitely like holding its own. That one, it's great.
It's like that mate that goes out with you, it's always there. 1 a.m. still there, 3 a.m. still there. It's not go home. It's like, oh, where is he? Oh, he's when
you're getting a kebab and the sun's coming
out,
still there.
He's still there. Like it's always it's a soldier.
Old faithful.
Old faithful. Good, rich.
That Inchgau is amazing. I only a couple of weeks ago had an 18-year-old Inchgau from Maltman. Maltman, and I think that's probably one of the best whiskies I've had. Not that this year's been very, very long so far, but it was a massive standard. It was almost pitch black. It was so dark. It was a heavy sherry cask, but it was fresh as a daisy. No sulfur, no intensity of oak. It was just bright raisins, red fruits. Fascinating.
We did open, I think last year we did open another 75-inch Gava from the Whiskey Agency. That one, that was not as expressive as this one. A bit more restrained. This one is like just big and rich and thick, and Dom, what do you reckon of this one?
I'm with Sean in terms of there was a note on the nose of this thing that I just couldn't pick, and when he said schnapps, that rang really true to me.
Schnapps.
Yeah, sort of like a schnappy type thing on the nose for me. It's just, for me, it's quite different from everything else we've had. But going more generally, the thing that really stands out for me, Jose, is how this 9-year-old Springbank is punching right up there with these 20-plus-year-old whiskies, and really holding its own. And I'm yet to add water to it. Which
I agree with that. It's like how a 9-year-old punches with a 38, a 26, and like, you know, and the Glenmorangie, it smells a bit new make-ish. Of course, you gotta forgive.
It's dead to me, Jose. The Glenmorangie is dead to me. Has been for a while.
I like it. I like the Glenmorangie.
It's just, to me, it's blah now. There's nothing there.
No, but it's, let's say, if you see it as technically, it's really good. It's like still at 10 years old, shows spirit character, which is almost untainted. It's just probably
I guess I drink my whiskey for taste and smell rather than technical merit.
Hey, I see what you mean.
Yeah, fair point.
Fair point.
But I hear you. But I compare this 9-year-old Springbank with this 10-year-old Glenmorangie in this lineup.
Yeah.
And I know which one I pick every day of the week and twice.
This Springbank is like a Toyota car. Never fails.
It's much sexier than Toyota, though.
You can buy any model you want and never lets you down.
The sporty version of the roller.
It's the hotted version of the Toyota range. Yeah.
You know, you can start it on any downhill anyway. You know, it will never let you down. That's the Springbank. Look, the Glenmorangie still feels very young, but it's thinking like it's 10 years old. It's technically it's not been rushed. It's not been finished. I'd say maybe I wouldn't have myself bottled, but you don't know what the bottler thought at that time. You know,
and it was quite different when we tried that, and that had been the only one that we had tasted because we saw the fruity component, we saw the light floral notes.
Yeah,
we hadn't got to the heavier end of the spectrum. Yeah,
it's amazing. When we started, the experience was the Glenmorangie was awesome. Yeah, and then you start going into the rest of depth and big and richer, and it's like, oh wow, this smells like you made now.
Yeah. But it was a great dram to start on. It was a really kind of set the scene, and that lighter floral bourbon cask.
Yeah. The 75 is stunning. It continues giving.
I almost want to put a couple of drops of water in there just to see what happens, but also at the same time.
You don't want to. You don't want to.
It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
So bottled in 2013.
Yeah.
Do you know how long Zanzibar have been bottling for?
Zanzibar? I think around 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe more than 10 years now. Zanzibar. Yeah. But they buy finished cask. They don't buy and store. They buy finished cask, they like it. They buy, they taste, they bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is like that. They don't have a warehouse where they just store many casks and see and taste, oh, that's ready, that's not ready. They just
get a good sample, buy it, bottle it, sell it.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah. They just know what they have and yeah.
We were just talking about that. Zanzibar don't finish whiskies, and we're looking at the color and the taste. With different opinions, do you think this could be a bourbon barrel?
This one would say what it is. No, just as a single cask.
Being 174 bottles at that age. Maybe we've got a port here. We think maybe it might be port as well.
It could be. It's either no. It's not. This is not a flavor cask. It's not a port or sherry or anything. This would be bourbon hogshead, or when normally, to be honest, from experience, when Zanzibar doesn't say anything, it's normally just a barrel, just a bourbon barrel, or so old feel that it's irrelevant to what it is. Could be anything.
Yeah. That's what we were saying. It's very rare. Like we wouldn't quite understand what the different kind of bourbon barrel taste would be.
What's Owen doing? There's Owen finishing his dram.
I think this is a bourbon barrel, but given the age of it, you could also be led to think that it could be like a second, third fill sherry cask or something. So something that's more about the oak and less about what previously been in there. Just because, but at that age as well, and so barreled in 75.
Yeah, I normally, who knows? I normally, if it's something is sherry, it's not bought. It's not. But I get that sort of, it tastes like old Glendronach to me. Like really old Glendronach. That sort of highland, fruity, and a bit rich. Well, this is, let's do a little recap of what we tasted today. And to wrap up, it's already 8:35. That's been a really nice tasting. I hope everyone's like this. Glenmorangie 10. Very nice to begin. This is an aperitif whiskey, right?
Absolutely.
Very interesting. It's like this stood out at the beginning, but then, we're tasting like very big senior whiskeys. I'd say you still put this Glenmorangie with a normal, Glenmorangie 10-year-old from the shelves of First Choice or, a Bunnahabhain 10-year-old, and this would stand out to that.
Yeah.
This,
absolutely perfect to start on as well, that one.
There's still a lot of, there's a heap of spirit flavor in there. It's just spirit. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's sometimes when you taste even Australian whiskey that is very young, you don't get this amount of clean spirit.
Yeah. There's a lot of like floral esters, fruity esters in this spirit, and it's still there. It's still
there,
vibrant.
It tastes, a lot like Japanese, new make spirit.
Yeah,
that's sort of very technically made floral esters. To me, and it actually smells a lot like Akeshi, which is a really nice distillery in Hokkaido, the new distillery in Hokkaido, which actually tastes very similar to the new make. They do peated style though, but the smell is so fresh. Then the Jarrad. Very nice. It's still like rich, big.
Still clean spirit.
A bit of salt, but marzipan on the palate.
The palate weight is great.
It's great. 22-year-old solid whiskey. Like, is that made that stays with you till like 5 a.m. eating a kebab? Like that made solid. It's a solid mate.
I think that was bottled at a perfect time. I think the balance of that is fantastic. And
you could also think that is 22 years without having much of a cask character. It's like very good.
Yeah.
That's when we tasted many of the old whiskeys, and that's probably we get that in the 38. Not seeing cask character at that age, 38 years, and it's still not cask character. It's like very good whiskey.
Yeah.
Right. It's not dry. At 38 years, it's not dry or tannic.
Yeah.
Like,
I want a big whiskey like that stands out for me. I think I had a 52-year-old Glenfarclas, which was probably 10th fill bourbon cask or something. That was hard. It was as clear as the Westport at the start, and it was just this real delicate oak, but then it was just all about the spirit. Just this really old,
after 52 years,
this aged spirit. And I've never had a Glenfarclas like it, and it was fantastic. I wish I could have bought a bottle, but it's well out of my price.
Out of the bracket. That's what they do in Scotland to you, right? They show you these things that are amazing, and then you don't want to know how much they cost.
It costs the same as my plane ticket.
Pretty much. The return ticket. And the Rosdu. The Rosdu still vegetal, but racy. It's lost a little bit of the flintiness. And salty, rich, nice, very nice. The Rosdu, very interesting whiskey.
That's probably the change the most, I think.
Yeah,
first pour to now. It was quite vegetal and dusty at the start, but now it's really opened up. A lot more floral, a lot more fruit characters coming through.
I was not probably biggest fan at the beginning, and now I'm like, I can drink a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's, you know, and it's I would say that's a dram that you happily share. The best way to drink whiskey, when I drink whiskey with my friends, when I come, it's like saying these like few glasses and you keep going back, and that's a really nice dram to keep on drinking for the good. You start half a nip, and you keep on drinking for an hour while you taste others, and that keeps changing all the time. Huh? Highland Park. We didn't give much thought to this Highland Park, I reckon. They know still with the paper, the burnt paper.
That hasn't really changed much at all since the first pour. It's still quite.
But the palate, salt, umami, that sort of.
Yeah, very savoury. A bit short on the finish as well. It's a lot going on in your front palate. Doesn't kind of follow through.
Tastes a bit like smoked chorizo.
Yes, yeah.
You know, that sort of paprika. Paprika, pepper. Nice, but not bad, huh? It's a very interesting dram. Highland Park, love a Highland Park. Well, Springer. This is the 9-year-old that stood out in here in a lineup of 20s or 10, 15 plus.
And even coming straight off the back of the palate of or coming off the back of the Highland Park, then into the Springbank, this is still huge.
David Borrow, how are you, mate? What do you reckon of the Springbank? I know you're a
no, it's just fantastic. Going back through the lineup, it's just takes it to another level.
It's amazing how we taste a 38-year-old and you go back to a 9, and it's like, wow, that's good. You normally, when you're in a normal whiskey tasting that you go through let's say a range, and you taste a 25-year-old or the 30-year-old, and then you go back to the 12, you go like,
it's not quite.
Doesn't really make it.
Yeah.
Here, we just go to like a 38 and you go back to the Springbank and it's like punching there, like,
Interestingly, the masala influence, which was so potent early on, has disappeared for me.
Yeah, I sense the masala on the palate more than on the nose, But saying that, with the difference between the 38 and the Springbank, when you grab the Inchgower next to a Springbank, the Springbank has not much against it, but still like stands out. Like
nothing's hidden. It's still there in kind of full force.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't shy away, but it just shows the difference of another 30 years. 29 years of storage. The 39 is sometimes I should learn not to regret to open bottles. When they're like too good, I'm like, why did I open that? Now I need to find another one. I normally just as a confession, I normally open bottles only when I have a second one. Right? Yeah. So I only open it when I know I can replace it with some. It's This time I don't have any more 75s from Zanzibar, so
not when there's only
that left.
186 bottles.
186 bottles. No, it's
not much to go around.
Not much to go around. But it's good to have as reference as 75 inch hours. Some of them. Since that drum, the 75's like a kind of stole the tasting, but it's still not fair. It's a lot older than everything else.
Yeah. Different generation of spirit production as well.
Yeah.
From the 70s to
it
would be 2000s for
2000s.
the Springbank.
Probably the same equipment in Springbank, bro.
Yeah.
Very similar equipment.
That's fair.
You know, just very different people. There's a couple retired and hired new people, you know, back then. But well, that's a very nice tasting. I hope everyone liked it. Let's see what they're saying. The many camera work. Yeah, I know the boys have been playing up with the camera. Jono is there. Yeah. Shan, Springbank tasting. Jono, can I get you, Jono, I need Owen to put a couple of tickets of the Springbank tasting. Everyone wants to buy the Springbank tasting today. Maybe Owen can add some stock to that and put the link on the chat if we get him. Is Owen still there? Yeah, he's still there. He's adding. Yeah, he's okay. I get someone. That's my daughter there. It's not Owen. What is? Aria, what are you doing? It's this is a real family business, you know, as family business as you can get. Yeah. Owen, are you giving whiskey to my daughter? No. She doesn't like peated. I know that. Owen must be now just putting some tickets on the Springbank tasting. That's the whole idea. Is we let everyone buy that comes to the tastings. We let them buy first in.
Yep. Yeah.
Because we'll take it offline tomorrow. Because otherwise, we find out there's a lot of people that buy the tastings, but not to be at the tastings. They just want the samples.
Oh, sure. Yep.
So we let people that's here to the tastings to buy first in, you know. So yeah. I guess the online and it's still not just the tasting. We just make samples. We just happen to taste them all at the same time. Right?
Yeah. And I think we're talking about this like before we went on camera, and it's been I think a really positive thing to come out of last year is the online tastings. There's been so many fantastic tastings, and it's a really good way to spread the love, I guess. Spread the whiskey love and for everyone outside of Melbourne.
Exactly. And you and me, we're very lucky. We're in Melbourne. We got like the Elysian, Whiskey and Element.
Extremely lucky.
It's you know, Boilermaker House, Niona, like, you know, ODV. We like great whiskey selections. You know, but not every state, you know, has that amount of whiskey bars with varieties. You know, in the state there's some whiskey bars. It's I must say many of them are more commercial and has just the regular offerings.
Yeah.
So we are spoiled. So
absolutely,
these tastings have actually opened the interstate customers to get in touch with the Melbourne whiskey scene. So it's good.
And for those that live regional as well, that
they don't get
the local pub wouldn't. Correct. Maybe Johnny Red, and that's about
it. So tickets for Springbank and Old and Rare are there now for everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Owen. Legend. Put the cut and paste the link, maybe. I know my credit card numbers by heart.
That's a dangerous path to go down when you know your credit card numbers by heart.
Yeah. I used to have that. It's a yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I live in Brisbane and I appreciate this online. Yeah, thanks, Rez. It's that's the. Well, as we were saying, now that we almost get into whatever is the new normal, it's not fair that we just only do tastings in the store, because we had all these customers that just like you know, Paul Leyland, Mike Leyland, and you know, heaps of others. You know, Chris Cornell just joining earlier before that was from Sydney, and heaps of others that supported us during COVID. Now it's like you cannot stop that. You know, like you can't let all these people that supported you on the, you know, the roughness.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we're all open. We just do tastings in the store anymore. See you, bye bye. You know, so good.
Yeah, and it was fun from our end as well, because I did a few tastings last year, hosting for Starward, and it was nice. I was at home, wearing track pants,
Yeah.
had a beer, and just tasting. I think we did one tasting that was about 100 people through Zoom, I think it was. And I was just at home, and it was absolutely fantastic. Had a good time. And then I went from the computer straight to bed.
We did last year tasting, the Chichibu, the 10th anniversary tasting.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
Were there. We had people in Japan, in Spain, in Singapore, in New Zealand. It was crazy. That wouldn't have never ever happened. And you have the people from Chichibu and Sullivan's Cove on the same
call. Yeah.
Call, right? Yeah. Even one of the ones that we did with Ichiro was there. His first ever online tasting in May. The first ever online tasting he's been ever, and he acceded to be at the online tasting. How do you get Ichiro Akuto if you don't go to, one of the Whisky lives, or you don't go to, it's like that's. I think we all come in with good ideas out of this on an upper hand,
Yeah. And I think it's a good balance as well, in store, online.
Correct.
You get to experience the way that you want to experience it.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining tonight. It's been let me just take this one, remove pin, and we go here. Oops, view, gallery view, speaker view. Thank you everyone for joining tonight. Salud, and I'll see you guys next Thursday with the first of the Nectar tasting.
Just before you go.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and see you guys next week.
Just before you go.
Yeah.
Your online one's still a bit glitchy for the Springbank tasting.
Oh, what happened?
The name for the first two options is still the old and rare whiskey.
Yeah.
And we're having trouble ordering 2 in the one order because it says it's sold out. So get him onto it. Get into
maybe they already purchased all the 8.
Shop tasting for Springbank is already sold out.
Sold out, boys.
In no time. Everyone's on there. Send me an email.
We will
for the
do.
shop. Is it who was talking just then? It already sold out live. Crazy.
Roger.
Roger. Okay. Send an email about it, and we fix it. The Springbank tasting sold out, Owen, already? All of it?
As far as I can tell, I'll double check once I can sort the system better.
I'd check Owen's work here, mate. Just not sorry, Owen, not calling you out, but
it's like crazy. It couldn't be. It's like, people buying tastings.
Everybody knows their credit card.
It's Shan that bought them all. He just Roger, send me an email and I'll sort it out. We never sell everything out. Like on a first release, we always keep tickets behind for these kind of cases. So don't worry, I'll sort it out. Just send me an email and I'll shoot you through 2 tastings or whatever you need. Yeah.
No problem at all. Thanks,
sir. Brother.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Again, salud.
Jose, thanks for having me.
Everyone, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.